Hey everybody, this is Ashley with Publish with Ashley, and I talk about how to make money online, mostly about low content books and publishing them on Kindle Direct Publishing, which is Amazon. And I'm here live today, and our subject today is how to sell more books and how to make your books stand out from everybody else's. So this is a question somebody asked me, and I thought, I would do an example and show you what I mean to provide value to your customers and kind of make your book stand out from everybody else's. It requires a little bit of work, but it is totally worth it. And that is the front matter pages. Okay, what are the front matter pages? That's like the first few pages in your book. And it makes you, if you can do something that looks professional and it's kind of seamless, it makes you seem more professional than just any other book. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to share my screen. Give me a second. And I have created let's see, that one. Okay, so I have created for you an example. And remember my rule of three. So it was funny because I decided to call it that, but the rule of three, if you haven't seen that video, and I'll link it after the show notes or after I publish this since it's live, but it's talking about why a lot of people aren't selling books, and it's because they just don't have a target audience. So I created this, and it's kind of what I do, but I decided to give it a title or a name, and the rule of three, and it works really well. So it's come up with the type of book you're creating. So in this sense, scissor skills, right? Or a book for kids. So come up with go start with the interior, and there's a tons of lists of interior. If you want to just go on Creative Fabrica and look at their interior for KDPs, you don't even have to get one. You can just look at all the different types. Or there's a ton of resources out there. If you Google it, I'm sure there's a list of different types of low content books. So you decide on your interior, and then you pick a big kind of broad subject. And then maybe, this one, books for kids, or, logbook, or not logbooks, engineers, I think was my example last time. And then you sub-niche it again and aim it at a specific target market. So in this sense, okay, what I've done is I have scissor skills for kindergarten girls, right? And we kind of talked about, now scissor skills is kind of the first grade kindergartners. So they're kind of almost the same thing. I wouldn't count that as two because you're not really going to have too many scissor skills for adults. It's kind of the first grade or kindergartner age. Girls though, right? And then I put my sub niche, which is Easter edition. Okay, so this is like the first page of your book. And why this looks really professional is you want to have what the title of your book is. Because you could put, this book belongs to, but I like to dress up my first page. I like to have it, I made this in Canva. You can curve text in Canva. I got a little icon of scissors for kindergarten girls, and then I slanted Easter edition. Okay. And I have two fonts. I'm not sure I'm really happy with this scripty font, but I was making this as an example quick, and this one was fine. And it was easy to read, but I kind of just picked two. I slanted it. It looks visually appealing, right? So your first page of your front matter pages, you want basically your cover page, which has your title, and you can have your subtitle too. Then what I do is, everybody always wants to know branding. So what I do is I do a logo of some variety. I made this pretty quick in Canva. And then if I'm doing this as a brand book, I have my website, right? So I have my cute little logo, kathybooks.com. I totally made this name up. Everything is totally made up. I just pick something. Okay. Then you have your copyright page, Kathy P. Smith, 2021, or 2021, there we are. And then this says, you can't really read it, but it's kind of the standard, all rights reserved, no part of this can be copied, blah, blah, blah. A lot of books have this. You can also add your ISBN in here. When you hit, if you use an Amazon ISBN, as soon as you hit, get ISBN on your page, it'll give you a number. So you can put that right there. And that makes your book look really professional and not kind of, it really makes it look professional. Okay. And then what I do here is what I do that most people don't. I add a little bit it's kind of like a note from the author, like how to get the most out of this book or something of that variety. And so in this, you may or may not be able to read it. I'm going to read it from this screen. This book is designed so that the cutting projects get harder. Your child is just learning to cut. If your child is just learning to cut, make sure you begin at the beginning of the book. And then I'd have some maybe tips or tricks or just some information about the book and how they can use it. It depends on the book, what you're going to write here, right? But I always try and add something like this, or I have one where I link it. I have some words and then I link it to a YouTube channel to explain a little bit more because it's a very visual type thing. And then, I put my pen name here. It says, thanks for picking up my scissor skills for kindergartners, girls, Easter edition. Have fun cutting. And then it says Kathy P. Smith, my pen name. And then I have here, want free coloring pages? Go to www.kathybooks.com. Right? So I have some little blurb about where to get a freebie if you're trying to gain a email list. But that's kind of what I do. I have a pretty interesting front. I put I make the title, I make it interesting. I have some sort of little graphic. And then I do my logo. Hey, Paulina. And I do a logo and I have the copyright page. And then I talk about it, or I show something or offer something on this page. I say, thanks for buying my book. And that's kind of what I do. Hey, Annika. But this page, honestly, it really makes your book stand out because it has words, it has something. It also, you can, have your website on there. You can offer free things. One thing to note in paperback books, this is fine. And this wouldn't obviously make sense for a coloring book or most low content books, but in ebooks for any Kindle book, you can't have your free offer until the end because they don't want people clicking right out of the Kindle book. But for the paperback, it's a little bit different because there's nothing clickable in a paperback. Obviously, it's a book. So there's a little bit of difference there. So I do want to point that out. Most of you are going to be doing paperbacks and not Kindle books. So, that doesn't really matter. But I just wanted to point that out. But these two pages, these front pages, having a logo, having it with pictures and making it visually appealing on the first page it just makes your book look so much more professional. It brings it out and if people actually look inside, I'm a look inside user. I always look inside books before I buy them. I know not everybody is. Some people don't even read the description, but I do. And when I see something like this, it looks more professional. And I know I'm probably going to get a quality book because someone spent the time to make these pages instead of just having the first page is the logbook. I think it looks more professional. It gives me ideas how to use it. I do it a lot I have a lot of outdoorsy books and I have all sorts of fun tips and tricks that I've written and added to those books to try and get the most out of your, outdoor hiking experience, that sort of thing. But this is kind of how I do it. So I know I've talked about this on my channel, but I wanted to visually show you an example of kind of how I do it. Questions? Does anyone have any questions? Let me stop sharing my screen. And thanks everyone for being here. I've got 18 of you, it looks like. Thanks for the likes and stuff. I appreciate that. Makes my YouTube channel happy. But is there questions? Anyone out there have questions about the front matter of your book? Something I didn't do, I forgot. The back matter of your book, the very last page, I usually, if I have free coloring pages or free something like that, I always put it big. This is kind of tiny in the front, but in the big, I put some sort of graphic. And then I say, because the graphic catches attention, right? And then and sometimes it's my logo. That's fine too. Want free coloring pages? Go to, right? So maybe I'll put in the very back my logo because the picture catches attention, and then the words. So that would be like the last page of the book so that you could get that. And even just putting your logo on the last page of the book and saying, thank you for purchasing, go see my titles, the rest of my titles on Amazon, and then giving your either author page, or if you have some other books, the links to those specific books. That's something too, because if you have someone who's already purchased your book, you want to direct, and they liked it, you want to direct them to your next book. I'm sorry I didn't put an example on. Maybe I'll do that next time. I was hurrying to finish, so you had a visual example this morning. But yeah, so I'll put like, want free coloring, it's my logo, coloring pages. Thank you so much for purchasing this book. Here, be sure and check out our other titles. And then I have the title, and then I'll have the link or an author page or something like that. And oftentimes I'll put a thumbnail, take a little, screenshot, make it tiny, and put the thumbnail. So you yet again have a picture to catch people's attention next to the title. So something like that. Could you explain what makes a good logo? That is hard because it is very subjective. I think if you do okay, so it has to look good grayscaled. So I guess that's the important thing to note. I generally make my logos in color because I'm going to use them for something, whether it's a website or something like that. But I generally tend to make them in color anyway. But you want to test it at grayscale to make sure you can see the distinction, right? Because in the KDP, you're going to have to make a grayscale version. Like this was just a grayscale version because you're going to want to make sure it's grayscale, because if you have something color in your PDF, even though it will print in grayscale, someone might think because the logo is in color that they're going to get a color book, and that isn't true. So you're going to want to make it grayscale and then make sure it looks good. You can do a circle or a square, simple, something that catches the eye. Simple's better. I have a lot of logos that look, that are just initials. So I'll have, like this one, I just did a little graphic and then the initials, because this pen name was Kathy P. Smith. I would go with simple. Simple, like some sort of little picture graphic that catches the attention, that is representative of what you're doing. Like if you were doing, this was scissor skills, and maybe let's say all of your books were scissor skills. Maybe instead of this little rainbow, I'd have some, little scissor icons. Like I would have this little icon right here, and then, KPS. So something that's representative, a little logo or icon, and then maybe your initials, maybe not. Just simple. Does the brand have to match the author name? I would like to brand something, existing books, but we can't change the author name. No, I guess it doesn't. I'm just trying to think how, okay, so I get what you're saying, that you can't change the author name, and you could put brands. I mean, if you think of publishing houses like Random House Publishing or Macmillan, or that, they have lots of authors under their brand. So you could kind of do something like that if you wanted to. Now, if those books haven't sold anything, you might want to consider just unpublishing them and republishing them with your brand name. But yes, you could have, it just depends on how you're going to set it up, I guess. That's the only thing. I don't know how you're going to set it up, but yes, you could. Like you could put a logo like this. This logo says KPS, but I could just have a little heart, and then my website could be like creativebooks.com. I don't know, whatever, right? It doesn't really matter. I guess I do have a brand name that is my author name that is different than my website, but it all kind of goes together, so it makes sense. So I guess just think about making it fit together and make sense. But yeah, you could. It just depends how you're going to use it. Other questions? Any other questions? Sorry, if you're on Facebook, unless you let me see your name, I just see Facebook user. So I'm not sure for those on Facebook whose question I'm answering. I just see Facebook user. Any other questions? I need Jeopardy music to play so I don't feel silly talking to myself. Let's see, what other tips and tricks or things that are going on? Next week, I'll be here live. The next week, I will not be live. I will have something posted for you on Wednesday, but be sure and check it out because I'll have something up at noon Eastern time on a Wednesday. But next week, I will be live. And yeah, we're heading out on spring break, my family. So we're going to have fun with the kids. So I won't be around. Any other questions? If that's it, this was short today. I just wanted to give you guys a good, quick tip, really how to make use, how to sell more books is really to look professional. That's kind of, I think, the mantra with anything. The more professional you look, avoid spelling mistakes, make sure it's correct English, correct grammar, correct punctuation. I see a lot of books. A good rule of thumb for titles is capitalize the first letter of every single word. You don't have to, but if you don't know what you're doing, and especially if you're not a native English speaker, just capitalize the first letter of every single word like this. I'll show you. I'll scroll. Oh, you can't see. But let's see. Scissors Skills for Kindergarten Girls Easter Edition, right? So scissor, capital S, skills, capital S, kindergartners, capital K, girls, G, right? Like you get the idea. Just capitalize the first letter of every word. That'll at least make you look consistent. So that's good. That's one thing to look really professional. Are books in color a good option? I am experimenting with books in color right now. I am doing some photo books. They're kind of fun and like present gift type books. And I've just started about 2 weeks ago. I have 4 published. So if you're under 40 pages, like 39, 40 pages, you can do color books. Kids books, right? Kids books tend to be that 30, 40 pages or under. So if you're making kids books in color, that's great, right? Because kids books do tend to be a shorter amount. So whatever you want to do with color, note that color costs more and that to kind of keep it at $9.99, which is a nice price point, 40 pages or under. Now, that's not to say you can't do something really cool in color and raise your price, but which can work. And you can definitely experiment with that, but you're seeking kind of a different audience if you're talking like a $20 book versus, the $10 book. And that's fine. Just understand your audience and your target market and how much they're willing to pay and how your product in color offers value. And, they may really like that. Can we have more than 3 Amazon author pages? Not in yet. Yes and no. In the same Author Central account, you can only have 3 author names, but you can open other Author Central accounts. So I have 2 Author Central accounts. I was trying to open a third and Amazon gave me an error and I was annoyed, so I didn't. But I do have 2 on Amazon Author Central accounts. You just need different email addresses and different info so that you can, run the accounts. Do you have advice on do you have advice? So Annika says, do you have some advice to set up the author page on KDP? Well, there's not a whole lot to go on the author page. It's just some sort of photo and you can put a logo on there. You have to claim your books. If you want, if you have a blog or a YouTube channel, you can connect and link those, which is kind of cool. But there's not a whole lot. The nice thing about the author page is that when you can give that author page name to somebody and they can go to it and see all your books. And B, also when somebody clicks on your author name, it takes them to the author page. The other cool thing it can do is that if somebody clicks follow that author page, Amazon will randomly send emails. And I say randomly because they don't necessarily send out an email every time you release a book. I'm not really sure how they decide to, but they'll send these emails randomly that you've released a new book to somebody who's clicked follow me. So if you want, follow somebody as an author page, and then you can see how Amazon will email and stuff like that when a new book comes out. And like I said, it's not it's not all the time, and it doesn't seem to be like right after the book gets released. I don't understand how they do it, but hey, any email is good, I figure. Any other questions on that? Was that helpful on the author page, Annika? I know there's not a whole lot going on the author page, really, unless you have a blog or something like that. It's pretty simple. You just claim your books, write a little bio about yourself, something interesting, catchy, make it kind of fun. It doesn't have to be really serious. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Any other questions? Anybody? I'll give it like 5 seconds. Gotta run. Okay, well, I gotta run too. So my house is in shambles. We're painting our cabinets. So I have cabinet doors all over the place, and I have to like dig out my refrigerator, and it's a mess. Anyway, so thanks everybody for being here. I hope this was helpful on Front Matter pages. Make your books look more professional. That's really the thing you need to do. And Front Matter pages, like we talked about, and then trying to offer something free for your brand in the back page. All right, thanks so much. I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.